Let me just remind you what I would call the dual key of PEPP is. It's on the one hand, it has a monetary policy stance about it. But on the other hand, as you know, because that was the one that certainly predominated in the early phase of the crisis, it is critically important because of its flexibility in order to transmit monetary policy, in order to reduce market stress, in order to avoid fragmentations. But it clearly has those two missions. So the PEPP, as I said also earlier on, is temporary, is targeted, and it's really intended to deal with the pandemic shock. It's in response to that shock that it was put together. And in order, to make full use of that instrument, we have to be mindful of the two functions. In response to the pandemic shock and the resulting downward pressure on inflation and the medium-term inflation outlook for the whole euro area, that's the response. Now, financial conditions for the whole euro area are significantly tighter. It's not country-specific. So we're now talking about the monetary policy stance. And all of that is happening in a situation where the recovery is going to need easier conditions to achieve price stability. So PEPP purchases in all euro area jurisdictions are needed to further ease the general monetary policy stance, supporting funding conditions in the real economy, especially for all businesses and households. For the monetary policy stance, we need to use it across all jurisdictions, no question about that. Now, when it comes to banks, as I reminded you, the TLTRO 3 in its latest iteration, which was decided in April, will begin in June. And we are very confident that given the attractiveness of the TLTROs and the rate that will be available to banks that at least maintain their exposure relative to the benchmark that has been decided, they will benefit from an interest rate which is minus 1%. Now, that should certainly help with reviving the economy, with maintaining the credit flow to both corporates and households, and within corporates to SMEs. That transmission of monetary policy mechanism has to work and has to continue to be efficient in that respect. And we are confident that combining all the tools that we have in our toolbox, leveraging PEPP as we do under the condition under the decision that we have made today, we will actually serve both aims that we are pursuing, which is to make sure that credit flows to the economy and that we return to the inflation path that we had pre-crisis so that we can deliver on our price stability mandate.